Saluti Vaharda, Ismisha Bernadette, and I am a 2023-2024 Fulbright student to Ireland. In my original Fulbright application, I was proposing to study at the Royal Irish Academy of Music here in Dublin, and my approach really was studying contemporary clarinet performance and its interaction with Irish trad as a genre. Clarinet is not a standard instrument in the Irish trad world, and I thought it could be a really good fit. There's a couple of people that I've seen online that have done it, and I really wanted to study that for myself and kind of almost maybe possibly create a step-by-step how-to kind of situation where I could say, you know, this is what I've learned during my Fulbright year. This is how I've taken these tunes and adapted them for the clarinet from the trad world, taken maybe specific ornaments, specific styles, things like that. And I toyed around a bit with creating maybe a how-to book for clarinetists on how to take an Irish trad tune and play trad if you've never played trad before. So that was kind of my starting point, really. That was my initial goal. I kind of arrived here in Dublin thinking that this was going to be so easy. I could just write this whole how-to book on how to approach trad for clarinetists that have never played trad or never interacted with trad before. And I figured, you know, it might be a little bit difficult just because it's a new style, but I played clarinet for 15 years. It's going to be no problem for me. I had a period that I kind of think of as maybe floundering a bit. It was a lot different than I had anticipated. Irish trad musicians typically just learn aurally. They do not learn with sheet music. And obviously I've taken aural skills classes in my degrees and things, but that's not been my primary way of learning. You know, primarily we're given sheet music that we can read and we can learn music from. And it's just not that way here. That's not how the trad world operates. So that kind of initial hurdle was maybe kind of a big one that I had heard about and I'd thought about. I didn't think it would be quite so hard. Some of these trad musicians can hear a tune 1.5, 2 times and they've got it, and they can add in their ornaments immediately. Whereas I still am really not at a point that I can hear a tune 2 or 3 times before I learn it, you know. I really kind of have to sit down and analyze it and kind of map it out in my brain to really kind of get a grasp of it. And it's just a whole new way of learning that I really had not anticipated being such a hurdle for me anyway. Throughout this learning journey, I've kind of clung to sheet music as a crutch. And that makes sense, of course, because classical musicians, we use sheet music. That's what we learn with all through our whole, you know, schooling career, all the way until the professional world. That's what we use sheet music. So I've kind of clung onto that myself as a crutch in the trad world. So I'll get the bare bones of a tune, and then I have to listen and kind of analyze it and map out ornaments in my head and map out where to add things in, because it's a whole different headspace than what I kind of experience in the classical realm. And it's a whole other kind of learning style, and it really puts you not only in a different headspace, but in this kind of world of flow. It's totally different. You know, when you know a tune by heart, and you've learned it and you've added your ornaments and you are playing in the style and you're playing with other trad musicians, you kind of enter this flow space that is so different than anything I've felt in classical music. It's like you're all on the same wavelength and everybody is, yes, going toward the same goal, but it's a lot more playful, it's a lot more energetic, it's very alive. It's like almost a tangible thing that you can feel in your soul when you're playing these trad tunes by ear with other people. And that's amazing, and it's something that I don't think you can really achieve if you are playing strictly from the music. I really didn't experience that until playing without. An interesting element of this flow showed up in my classical playing as a result of this trad flow that I was talking about earlier. So I obviously played in the trad ensemble here, had lessons, all of that sort of thing, but I also, on the other side, played some orchestral stuff, and we did a few orchestral concerts, the usual orchestral rep. I was studying excerpts, again, very standard study for a classical musician. And for some excerpts, such as Daphnis et Chloe, I experienced this freedom of particularly my fingers that I'd never quite felt before. And I genuinely attribute that to playing in trad, because that headspace, that flow that I was talking about, it kind of puts you in a different, not only mental space, but I think physical space too. It's like you and your instrument kind of become one in a way that I've never personally felt in classical playing. And that flow really just made the finger movements, which Daphnis et Chloe is notoriously hard for clarinet players and woodwind players in general. I got a flow in that excerpt particularly that I'd never felt before. And so it really kind of opened my eyes to the benefits, not only that Irish trad can have on clarinet playing, but the benefits of studying music that's maybe not what is the normal prescribed thing, Without this Fulbright, I would have never had the experience to come and study Irish trad on clarinet, of all things. So it's really opened my eyes to the fact that studying all types of music, no matter what you're interested in, whether that's Irish trad, whether that's folk music, whether that's rap, hip-hop, R&B, techno, rock, whatever you're interested in, I think it's worth pursuing, because you can find amazing benefits for your classical playing that you may not have discovered otherwise. So one of my favorite parts of my whole Fulbright year that was completely unexpected but has been absolutely incredible is my newfound love of sean-nós singing. Sean-nós song is a very old tradition that, dates back literally centuries. Some of these songs are centuries old, and you typically have a singer with a melody, and then each singer, depending on their teacher or what region of Ireland they come from, will then ornament that melody in a specific way, and that's what kind of gives it that regional stamp, that unique kind of spin on it. And so some of these tunes have versions all over Ireland, but it very much depends on, where you grew up, or who your teacher was, or who you got the tune from, where you got the tune from. And so that's how I kind of found it. We actually were given this tune on Buchuch Dov in the trad group, and this teacher in the trad group that was teaching it to us, he got it from his father, and it's pretty well known that his version is kind of one of the most beautiful versions of this tune, because there's a ton that exist of An Buchuch Dov. And so we were just playing it in the trad group, just on the instruments. There was no lyrics attached. But because I was learning Irish at the time at Conra na Gaeilge, I asked if there were lyrics, because I was interested in learning the language. And so that kind of morphed into this beautiful weekly meeting that we would have, and he would teach me those words. We would go over pronunciation, over the translation, and finally the actual production of the song, of the sean-nós singing. Because again, you are given the melody, but every single sean-nós singer, and depending on region and again where you got that tune from, that's kind of where your ornamentation of that melody shifts a bit. And so we learned the whole tune down all the way with the words in Irish, and it was a beautiful experience, absolutely incredible. I love to sing anyway. I've always just really done it for fun, never quite really, maybe in the professional world. But I've always loved to sing, and for me, singing sean-nós not only feels like I'm connecting to music, but it feels like I'm connecting to my family, my ancestry. I have ancestors from Connemara that, maybe they sang sean-nós, I don't know. But it feels like it's in my blood, and he said the same. Like, he said, it sounds like you're a native singer of sean-nós. Like, it's completely wild that you can walk in here at 25 years old, never having sung sean-nós in your life, and you're singing these tunes this way. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And so it's really kind of, again, opened up my perspective to a whole other world of music I never thought that I would be able to participate in. And sean-nós to me feels different than other music that I've interacted with and studied before. Sean-nós to me feels like it doesn't belong to me ever. When I play Brahms on clarinet, or when I play Mozart, it feels like my Brahms. It feels like my Mozart, It's like there's my stamp in it, right? But when I sing sean-nós, even though I am choosing my own ornaments and I'm personally singing that melody, it doesn't really feel like it ever belongs to me. It almost feels like I'm kind of pulling, I think of it like a spinning wheel, like I'm pulling this thread that's this golden shining thread, and I'm pulling, and I'm kind of weaving this golden tapestry of this story with these words. And at the end, when everything's kind of silent, that last breath, I have this golden tapestry of this shining golden string. And then I open my eyes and someone speaks, or we all breathe in, or someone claps, and the tapestry unravels and it's gone. And it goes back to wherever it came from, because it never belonged to me. I held it for a moment. I created this beautiful image with it, but it was never mine, and I can't keep it because it goes off, until the next time I call on it, and I weave that tapestry again down the road in a different place with other people, creating a different experience. So yeah, it feels different to me. It feels raw. It feels like I'm harnessing like raw energy of the universe, which is a really incredible feeling as a musician. And again, it really just opens my eyes to kind of the possibilities that we can do with music. O Slanske on their soul, the joy not As I mentioned, one of my goals at the beginning of the Fulbright was to create almost a how-to for a classical clarinetist to approach Irish trad. And now, at the very end of my Fulbright, I don't think it can be done. Irish traditional music wants to live, and it wants to breathe, and it feels like it's alive. It is so dependent on the musicians and the mood that they're in, the room that you're playing together in, the energy in the room, the weather outside, the time of day. There are so many factors that you cannot quantify and put in a book on how to play Irish trad. It's just not possible. Irish trad is such an incredible music that you really cannot describe unless you experience it yourself, you know? I could talk about it all day and what it feels like to me, but you really have to experience it to, I think, understand Irish trad. It doesn't want to be defined because it's alive. It's almost like a person, almost just this living thing that cannot be described with kind of the Western classical tradition definition. You know, you just can't. It's living. I've also had a lot of personal growth this year during my Fulbright. It's the first year in probably my 15 years of playing clarinet that I have not had a full plate of classes every single day. I really had a lot of kind of free independent study, which has given me the opportunity to study with amazing musicians and travel Ireland and get to meet the people that are making this music and experience the culture and the places that inspire this music. And that is an opportunity that I will cherish the rest of my life. It's been absolutely incredible. I've seen the most beautiful places, met the most beautiful people, had the most amazing, beautiful experiences that I can barely put it into words, really. It's been absolutely incredible. I've learned personally to live in the moment. You know, music school can be very difficult. It can be draining at times. It can give you burnout, and it can be absolutely exhausting. You know, we regularly have 14-hour days, at least in the US, and that's normal. And it's normal to work hard at your craft because, of course, you want to be good, and of course, you know, you want to have a beautiful career, be successful. But this year here in Ireland has taught me that you can have that beautiful success, but you can also take a seat sometimes and take a moment to breathe and just experience life. Here, I think the pace of life is just a little bit slower than the US, and the appreciation for the outdoors and the experience to just get out and move and breathe fresh air and feel the sun when it's out and not raining. It's just the most incredible kind of perspective shift for me after, you know, hardcore studying music for 15 years. It's been so nice to just kind of take a beat, study music, study orchestral work and excerpts, but also be able to go for a walk in the park and walk along the beach and take a weekend trip to hike a mountain. And yeah, it's just been the most beautiful year of my life. Truly, truly. I love this country. I'm so grateful to have been able to spend the year here. And I really hope in the future that I get the chance to come back. All in all, I've had an absolutely incredible year. I never ever thought that I would be living in Ireland. I've loved Ireland and Irish culture and the language and the music for years. And I never even dreamed that I would be able to live here and experience so many amazing things. Sorry. Yeah, it's just been the most incredible experience. And I just would encourage anyone watching to just pursue your dreams. Go after anything, everything. Just apply for anything that you think you might be interested in, or, you know, reach out to people that maybe are doing what you want to do in the future, and just build that relationship, because there are so many things in my life that have kind of come together in a way that I never could have orchestrated myself to make this happen, but because they all came together the way that they did, I am here in Ireland, and I've studied, and I've met incredible people, and I've seen the most beautiful places, and just lived a year of like the perfect life. Like, truly, I've had the most amazing experience here. So that's really just my advice for the future for anyone that happens to be watching, is just go after your dreams, because even if it seems crazy, even if you think in a million years it could never happen to you, if you work hard and you put in the work on the back end, doors will open for you. It may not be the exact way that you anticipated. It may not be with the people that you thought, or in the way that you had hoped, but it will be good. It will work out for you, because I guess I'm just an optimistic person. I believe in the good of people, and I believe in the ultimate good of the world and of the universe. And yeah, I've had the most beautiful life here. I really have had the most beautiful life.
Feelings come, but they won't.
I just wanted to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my experiences here in Ireland. And I want to sign off in a bit of Irish for you. This is Slán go full, which is bye for now.